Other things my mom put in my head was that if I had 30,000 in the bank, then I could start dating somebody. So like she set me up with these weird rules in my head where it was like I couldn't date somebody until I was ready to marry them, and you couldn't marry them until you're ready to buy a house. And I believed that a house was purchased with a 20% down payment, which meant I had to have $30,000 in the bank. This is the math that I knew was in my head from like the age of 15 or 16. Like that was the sort of stuff that's put in my head. And here I am. My parents don't own a house. They're married, but they don't own a house. They're telling me I should buy one because that was a mistake they made. So I was like, okay, like don't make the same mistakes as my parents. They're trying to set me up. The don't do as I did, do as I say sort of mentality. And the other benefit, I think my father was always telling me that real estate is the key to getting rich. Like if you want to be wealthy, the rich get richer and the poor stay poor, and the rich own real estate. He'd always say that. He said, you always work hard, save your money, and you want to invest it. The funny thing is my father never invested it. My mother never invested. Like to this day, they still have no investments, although we do talk about it now, and my father's getting his real estate license. He's looking to come on my team, and we're going to start working together, doing some flips and doing some of the work that I do already. But it's just interesting, like, no, I did not come from real estate. No, I did not come from any kind of money whatsoever, but I did come from a strong work ethic. And that, I think, was one of the beginning pieces that set me up to succeed in life. The other thing that people ask me all the time is, what school did I go to? So I actually grew up in Fall River, but I stopped at the second grade. There was some sort of situation, I barely remember it. I believe there was a report where my mom felt that they were invading privacy. It was one of the things that your parents do that you think is really silly, and like I don't remember what I wrote. I was like, maybe they forget things that they're supposed to remember or something like that. But somebody else in the class had written something that was pretty interesting, where you kind of got into some of the domestic dispute stuff in the family, and my mom thought that was invasion of privacy. She said, I'm pulling my kids out of school. I'm going to homeschool them, because she dropped out at 10th grade and she was clearly qualified to handle that. But the benefit to being homeschooled was obviously not the social aspect, since it was just me and my brother. Fortunately, I do have some close friends that I grew up with. They lived next door. The community was pretty tight, so I still have a lot of those friends, and I had to build my social skills elsewhere. I did not gain my social skills from school like everybody else did. That was something I had to work on, because initially I was quite the introvert. Now you'll see me speaking in front of rooms with 50, 100 people, and I don't even sweat. It's not even a problem. I actually genuinely enjoy getting in front of people and having those conversations. But it wasn't always this way. I had to build that. So being homeschooled did instill some really good qualities in me, in me and my brother, and that was that you can learn absolutely anything if you want the knowledge bad enough. And you don't always have to specifically be told or taught something. Sometimes you have to go out and dig for that information on your own, because my mom couldn't answer the questions, right? When it came to math, my mom didn't know. When it came to certain levels of history, she didn't know. When it came to certain different things, me and my brother had to go back through the book and try to figure it out on our own. Like, hey, where was this answer? They said it somewhere in here. They must have. So that digging for knowledge, digging for resources, and not being able to just rely on everything that you know or being taught to you was one of the strengths that I still use today. Like when I don't know something, it just means that I need to go dig for that answer. It means that it's somewhere out there and I'm going to get it. And I'm going to find that answer, I'm going to find that knowledge. So that was one of the strengths of being homeschooled. I don't think that everybody comes out of homeschooling with that value or that lesson. I'm not saying go homeschool your children, but I turned a weakness into a positive, right? I was not socially excellent at that time in my life, and I certainly did not have easy access to knowledge, but I found a way. I'd go and I'd read the books, or this was pre-internet, so even though the internet was coming in, we didn't have it, because again, we were very, I'm not going to say poor, but we didn't have money. So eventually we did have computers, but during that time, it was very much, you got an encyclopedia, we had dictionaries, and we had the school books that my mom was able to buy for us that we would dig through and just try to find whatever it was, wherever the answer was, somewhere in there. And that was my education was just going through these books that she would buy for each year And then we did take some tests at the end of the year to evaluate and make sure that we knew what we were doing, because the city does like to see and the state does like to see that you're actually participating and teaching your kids.